Good morning, everyone. Renee Grinneman with Spirited Growth, continuing the Breathing for Emotional Transformation series. This is week 3 of the series. And as we continue through the weeks, we'll continue building on various techniques that are drawn from the yogic tradition, but are very effective in helping you to shift your emotional state. So last week we were playing with the inhale and the exhale. And just as a refresher, we learned about how the inhale, whenever you're startled, is the excitatory part of the breath, and that the exhale is the calming, like the sigh, part of the breath. And so when we start playing with breath, we actually start working with this direct link between the breath and the nervous system. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to start playing with some breathing patterns. In particular, we're going to be playing with the 5-2-7 breath today. And this is a really common breathing pattern for helping to bring emotional calming whenever we're in an excited state. So what is the 5-2-7? In layman's terms, I always talk about the different parts of the breath. So the 5 being the inhale, in layman's terms, that is the how do we draw energy. So we have to continuously draw energy to sustain life. The 2 is a pause between the inhale and the exhale. And typically we don't pause between these two parts of the breath. And so, like I said, in layman's terms, I think of it as a, hey, pay attention, we're doing something different here. And then during that phase, on more technical terms, during that pause, some things start happening. We actually start impacting the carbon dioxide buildup in the body because we're taking that moment to continue to use the oxygen we just breathed in. And that helps aid in the stimulation of the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's fancy terms for saying it helps you to feel calmer. All right, so we start that calming process during that 2-count pause. And then we engage in a 7-count exhale. So again, remembering the exhale being the calming part of the breath. So we had that 2-second pause saying, hey, pay attention, and shifting gears within the body. And then we accentuate a longer exhale. So this creates a calming pattern in the body. So there's one extra little thing that I want to give you as a tip today, and then we're actually going to engage in some practice. When we count, I'm going to give you a count that's going to be a pretty fast pace just to get you set up. But I do want you to adjust the count to a pace that makes sense for you and your body. So if you are very adept at breathing practices and can slow that count down, please slow it down to match what your body's capable of. Always when you're playing with holding and breathing patterns, always stay in the realm of comfort. If there's any strain in the body, whether it's in the head or the lungs or a yearning, an emotional strain, then that means that this pattern is not working for you. And so you're going to back off in that moment, take a few regular breaths, and then attempt it again and keep playing with the pattern to see if you can make it feel comfortable. It's when we're stressed, we're not going to find calming. And so we want to play with this very intentionally without thinking there is a perfect form. The perfect form is just paying attention to the breath. And just maybe if you can get that exhale a little longer. Beyond that, it's all play. And so engage in it in this way. All right? So I'm going to have you go ahead and close your eyes. Find yourself a comfortable position, whether you're choosing to lie down to practice today or staying seated with a tall spine. And in this moment, as you close your eyes, starting to just watch the breath. Just like we've done every practice, bringing that mindful awareness to the breath. Noticing what story the breath is telling today. We are learning to listen. Watching the breath flowing comfortably in and out of the body, just as you already were doing, but now now with awareness. And then starting to shift the breath ever so slightly, just starting to deepen the inhale and lengthen the exhale. Deepen the inhale, drawing it deeper and deeper into the body. And slow, steady, easy exhale. As you continue to breathe, starting to play with making the exhale just a little longer than the inhale. So bringing your own count into the practice. I'll set a pace here, but you do your own. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Count your breath. Starting to play with just how long each breath is, making that exhale a little longer. As the breath starts to smooth out, just watching, noticing. Can you find the ease within this newly established pattern? And sometimes it's really helpful to step back, almost imagine that you're watching yourself, watch yourself breathing. Taking that extra step of perspective as you continue to watch the inhale and lengthen the exhale. And so now we'll start to play with the breathing pattern, continuing to keep this in your range of comfort. As I stated before, adjusting the pace of the count to fit your needs. I'll guide the first few rounds, and then I'll move to silence as we practice together. So, when you're ready, exhaling completely, emptying the body. And then we'll begin the inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 2, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 2, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 2. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Continue this breath. And sometimes people find it a little challenging to engage in that exhale after the pause. And so what I'm going to suggest to you is when you go to the exhale, first take the slightest little sip of breath in to engage natural body mechanisms again, and then exhale out. And so I'm going to guide that as well as soon as you can, exhaling completely. And then in, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. 2, sip in, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. 2, sip in, 2, out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more time. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. 2, sip in, and then out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so continue playing with that, seeing if that brings a little bit more ease to your practice. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, you can let that go. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, pause. 2, sit, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, at any point, if the breath feels strained in any way, just take a few natural breaths and return to the practice. Take one final complete round. And then return to a more regular breathing pattern. Sitting and watching, noticing what's happening in your body now. What's happening in your mind now. Take a moment to scan the body from the feet to the crown of the head. What has changed? What is true for you in this body, in this moment? And all things making it a curious experiment. when I breathe in this way, this was the result today. And I naturally invite you to explore this experience on several days of this week, maybe even entering it from different emotional states. Always checking things out before you go in. And again, checking it out as you end your practice. Thank you for sharing this time with me today. You're welcome to leave comments in this section below, whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. You're always welcome to make contact with me. I will do my best to follow and let you know, respond to any questions that you have. We'll continue some practices and experiments with breathing patterns in the next few weeks towards different purposes. And then there's a lot more breathing strategies we can explore together beyond that. I look forward to joining with you next week.